move on to number 5, charter revision. If I could just attempt to set the stage this morning before we go through this. And Mary can kick me if I got this wrong. But we've also heard back a lengthy response from Town Attorney John Bennett. And basically, as I read this, the Board of Selectmen can accept or reject the revised Charter Revision Commission document, or accept parts of the document, or reject them, but we cannot rewrite the document per se. We'll also look at John Bennett's comments on the document, and it's also, as you read and what he said, it's all right to go from shall to may or the opposite. Also, read a lot of comments relative to whether we could have continuing a Board of Finance or not, and it was determined that we can do either. Again, I have reviewed the document several times, and I have to say that I honestly have some concerns as it stands now. Just on my own, I was interested to contact 3 other attorneys who are voters in 3 other towns. As private concerned citizens of those towns that have the same form of government. All 3 independently said that they were concerned that when you remove authority from the Board of Selectmen as to setting policy, approving contracts, and making financial decisions, as part of the overall financial and contractual oversight that a town should have. Again, all 3 individuals as private citizens, not lawyers, felt that town manager has too much authority or control of financial matters and contracts. During the first hearing conducted by the Charter Revision Commission, it was clear, if you review the hearing comments by town residents, that the Colchester town manager model was not acceptable to town residents, which is exactly what the revised Charter Revision Commission document represents now as a result of the last changes in terms of total control of administration, which is okay, but also financial and contractual control, which in my view is not okay. And I do not believe that the Board of Selectmen has concern over the First Selectman duties being moved to the town manager. That's one of the things we absolutely called for. But to remove the authority of the Board of Selectmen, as I have mentioned, and also eliminate the entire Board of Finance, coupled with that, is a concern in terms of control of governance of this community. So, those are just a few comments that I wanted to make before we proceed. And anybody can jump in and begin at this point. And I welcome your comments and the work that you're going to do, which is important work. So I hope that kind of sets the stage. Then, as our attorney,
I'm not your attorney, no.
all I'm saying is we welcome your contributions to this very difficult charge.
I pretty much said my piece at our last meeting. I just want to add that while I am hearing, send it to the town for vote, I think unfortunately the town proper, aside from people who've been at the hearings, which I don't believe were incredibly, I don't think that the number of people who went are a significant representation of the town. I think that people would be voting on something they don't really understand, and I will agree with you, Bruce, that I don't think the document is ready to be voted on. because of that. I think you just go to the town and say, are you for or against the town manager without understanding the document and the ramifications of the financial decisions behind it.
Well, but there
It's
are
just
many
financial.
months between now and when the voting would take place on this.
That's just my opinion.
Well, I would feel that
We're
there
not
would be,
supposed to rewrite them.
no, that there would be numerous opportunities to answer any questions or,
But the same people will come out and it'll be the same, you're not gonna get it at the word out there like you think, and
That's-
people don't listen.
that's the way it is with everything. I
I
mean,
think-
people make their decisions in the first 3 seconds of hearing about things, but.
I wasn't really finished. So,
Go ahead.
my point is that I think if we prepare and present a document to the town, I think all 5 of us, while it may not be, or people may be saying that we should be making a decision, that's fine, but if the 5 of us do not agree on the language in total of the document, then I don't know that it's appropriate to send it to the town. That's
That's
just
the
my
way I
point. I think if we don't have a unanimous, yes, we are all 100% on board with this document as written, because we think it's what's in the best interest of the town, then to put that power into a vote for people who don't necessarily understand it, I have a problem with. I think it's our job to present something that we all agree on.
It's a drastic change to our way of government.
Drastic.
And it really is putting a lot of authority in one person's hands without eliminating some of the checks and balances that we currently have.
And that
With
would
the
not
First
be
Selectman, the
intentional.
Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Finance having checks and balances on the finances of the town, we're eliminating that. We're eliminating a lot of the authority of the Board of Selectmen.
We don't have to take out the Board of Finance.
Well, exactly, but that's what's in here now.
And
And by putting all that authority into the town manager, eliminating any checks and balances. I don't think the town manager position is right for this town. In spite of what some people may think, I think the town has been running pretty well. But I don't think we're ready for that. And again, and add another layer in there as far as the cost associated with it in this economic time, as Mr. Carr was pointing out, this is not the time to do that either. That position will never repay itself. I used to hear that about the town planner. It doesn't ever repay itself.
that's another thing we can discuss.
Well,
Honestly, I feel that the town manager will pay for itself. I think the town manager, the oversight that is provided by the changes here, has the ability to move and consolidate and negotiate, and can maybe make cost savings in the processes of running the town that will pay for the difference between the First Selectman's salary and the town manager's salary. I mean, it's going to be the same insurance and blah, 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 but you're talking basically a $40,000 or $50,000 difference. And I think that if someone with this working knowledge of, I mean, I granted, I'm putting a lot of eggs in the getting the right person basket. But when I read that this town manager still has to report to us on everything that's going on. I mean, this section 8.4
Report,
really
that's it.
defines, shall recommend to the Board of Selectmen such measures as he or she may deem necessary or expedient, shall keep the Board of Selectmen fully advised, shall prepare and submit to the Board of Selectmen an annual budget.
That doesn't mean,
Town manager may, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, enter into contracts or agreements with the government or any agency thereof, the state of Connecticut. I don't know, to me, this is something, the time is here for a change in the way things work in Clinton. I don't see that, I mean, I love this town, I think it's a beautiful place to live, and that we have wonderful volunteers for our committees and commissions. Very few are elected. I just think that there's a lot of room for improvement. I think there's room for streamlining and getting with the real world and having someone with knowledge knowledge, I'll leave it at that, in the position of steering the town with the advisement of the Board of Selectmen as to how taxpayers think. I do.
Just to give you an example of the transfer of powers from the Board of Selectmen to the town manager, there's only 3 things left that we have to do. They are: shall, with the advice of town council, institute, prosecute, defend, or compromise any legal action or proceeding by or against the town. Shall call a special town meeting to recommend the creation, consolidation, change, or abolition of officers, boards, commissions, or agencies not otherwise provided for in this charter, or may call a special town meeting for any proposal it deems of sufficient importance. That's it. Everything else rolls over to the town manager, including the 3 most important ingredients, which are setting policy, approving contracts, and being involved in all financial matters. That's the key to this whole thing. If we don't have that control and we don't have a Board of Finance, it's the Colchester model, which even the Charter Revision Commission did not want. Is that correct, Mr. Donovan?
I don't understand that question. If we didn't want it, we wouldn't have left it in it. I mean,
Well,
I don't know,
you heard
this
it.
comment's always about Colchester. I myself had done some research. I came a lot from the town of Killingley perspective.
Yeah.
And they do not have a Board of Finance, and that's where I picked up on the idea. And I had researched and talked to individuals from Killingley. They said that it had worked rather well up there, and that having another, how should you say, not obstacle, but another means of bureaucracy, and just it makes sense to them. I guess a long time ago, whenever they did it, I guess they've been successful for about 28 years now up there in Killingley. I myself did not always reference or believe in the so-called Cromwell or the Colchester model.
Right.
My thoughts always came, quite frankly, from the Killingley model. I like the form of government.
But the point is, at your first hearing, you had the town manager of Colchester.
No, it was Cheshire.
Oh, Cheshire. Okay.
Cheshire, and,
I got the wrong seat.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the point is, that person had total control. And that's what this document does.
Well,
That concerned me.
I believe Mr. Malone, from Cheshire, the Cheshire model is different from the model that is proposed to you at this moment. And the fact that there isn't the oversight that we have put in for the Board of Selectmen. You will see consulting and and I'm not quite sure that the policy is going to come from the town manager. Policy is going to come from the Board of Selectmen, and our town manager would implement the policies that you hash out and create. The other thing is that this model that is in front of you also has the town manager working closely with the director of finance. And there is the knowledge base that right now is the underpinning of the way the town works financially. It's with the director of finance, and then if we add a town manager who also has a master's in finance or is a CPA, that strengthens up the base of knowledge that really we're not getting through elected members of the Board of Finance, as well intentioned and as hard as they work. I admire them all. It's not easy, but the professionalism would really increase and the knowledge base would increase by putting the town finances in the hands of financial managers.
if I could just make one more comment, Mr. Selectman. You said about the duties of the Board of Selectmen. we left you with the most important duty. You hire and fire the town manager. Basically, nobody else does that. Board of Selectmen hires and fires the town manager. That's the most important thing that can be done by the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
And you also will do the job description. And in that policy is, you will, either you as the 5 members of the board or a select committee that you appoint will be part of a search committee, will be the person, the people, and your judgments will write the job description and really nail what it will mean for Clinton. This is a skeleton.
And one other point, when we talked about, well, when you mentioned how few people came to the public hearing, the consensus, the overwhelming consensus at that meeting was that there was support for the town manager. But also, I want to look at the Charter Revision Committee that has been working, commission, has been working for over a year. And who constituted that committee? That was a big cross-section of our town. I mean, Dennis with, what, 20 years experience on the Board of Finance. Lynn Heideck, who almost personally raised every child in this town. I forget who else was, Eric Bergman, a teacher in the high school. Gary Bousquet, who is nobody's patsy at all. Gary, I know he's not in favor of this, but he was a big contributor. I mean, it was a well-rounded commission. It was a commission that represented every aspect of this town, and this was their consensus of opinion of where they would like to see the town go. And I have enormous respect for that. They worked so hard and did so much homework to bring this document together. I mean, you guys interviewed and expanded and researched, and it was more than a year in the process, and I have a lot of respect for the constitution of the commission and your conclusions.
Was it unanimous?
Gary, that's the only one who voted against it.
John, the last vote for this document was unanimous, and Gary was there.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes it.
I mean, again, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think during the course of this, some of us had mixed feelings both ways. Quite frankly, when I came into this, I wasn't quite sure whether I was in favor of town manager. But as the more I heard from townspeople, whatever, and some input back probably from your board the last time around, that I thought that I got the gist was that there was still a lot of duties left with the Board of Selectmen or the First Selectman. That's why we went back and sort of took more powers away from the Selectmen, First Selectman, if you will, and made it more towards the town manager. Because I did agree with your comments before that you just added a layer of management that it was costing to the town without really changing much. If the guy always has to answer to the Board of Selectmen, then why have them? Why have both? Might as well just keep what you have to the Board of Selectmen. I mean, you just have a guy who just answers to him all the time, you just made another position. So that's why I think we then turned around and said, well, we're getting the indication that more power should be added to the position of town manager, and you know, that's where we are today, quite frankly. At least that's my perspective of it. I don't know where they come from, but that's how I look at it.
Okay, I would just add one thing here. I know you guys have worked really hard on the Charter Revision Commission. The document supporting change, which is so big in this case, from what we have to town manager, it has to meet certain criteria supporting that change. It has to be cost effective, it has to be concise, it has to be complete, it has to be conceptually make sense in all ways. It has to contain clear, specific, readable well-thought-out language that leaves no doubt as to the authority, the responsibility, and accountability of who is doing what. And I don't think this document meets that criteria. I think you work really hard, you're fairly close, but I don't think you're there. And we're not supposed to, our charge is not to rewrite the document here.
What is that, what do you mean by that?
We are not to rewrite this document.
We being the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
Well, I
We
know.
can reject things or accept things, but we can't rewrite the document.
Right, well, I'm not feeling like we're rewriting it.
Well, I'm saying it needs to be
So you would
rewritten.
take it just the way it is?
I would I?
I'm not, well, I guess.
If that's our option, yes, yes, I would. I mean, I know there are things in here, I mean, have you really looked at this? Have you looked to see
Several times.
that, you know, when they're looking for people for specific roles, the Board of Selectmen appoints a board to a committee to come up with a nominee, and that nominee goes for, you know, there's an approval process that the Board of Selectmen are involved in. And the ultimate hiring and firing goes to the town manager, but there is still input from the Board of Selectmen on the big decisions that occur in town. And if we have a town manager who is non-responsive to the suggestions of the Board of Selectmen or the conclusions of the Board of Selectmen, then we have the ability to remove that person. Yes, we go through the process again, nobody wants to do that, the hiring of a town manager, the locating and finding of a town manager. But if you find that this person is not enacting the will of people represented by the Board of Selectmen, then that would change. That person would change. But I just,
Not that
it's
easy.
not that easy. No, it's not that
That's
easy. So
gonna be-
neither is an election every 2 years.
That's gonna be stamped in how easy it was to get rid of the town
Bloody, ugly
Well-
process we go through every 2
It
years.
cost them $1.2 million to
Get rid of the-
town manager.
Yeah.
And there was another town that cost $700,000 to get rid of the town. And the contracts are written so that they can leave at their option, basically at any time.
Well, that's the contract that that person
No,
had
that is the contract that all of them have to have.
by virtue of what?
All contracts for town managers have to have that.
Who says that?
You can't force them to stay if they want to stay.
You're an
They're
at-will employee, so anybody can leave whenever you want.
Well, I
Of
mean,
course,
so many of us.
You can't lock them in.
Granted,
And if you get the wrong person, they can do a lot of damage in a short period of time.
Well, that could happen
And
with
our
this
past
That's what
experience.
happened.
official.
Absolutely
Yeah,
gonna happen with elected
Director of
officials.
Finance that we've had and others. So,
You know what, this is not related to this document, but having run for the Board of Selectmen 4 times, and you get to the first, whatever it is, in November, the election happens, there's a month or 2 of licking your wounds and trying to reestablish friendships. Then you have a year where everything's calm and everybody's happy again, and then you go for the juggler again. I mean, this is a little town. We're 13,000 people, and it's just a process that tears the town apart every 2
It's still not gonna
years.
have that, it just with the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be, there, it isn't gonna be.
will be different.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, that's another facet of my thinking.
is anybody interested in making a motion?
Are there,
Our option is to reject the document,
no, are.
we actually
Or
have to,
accept it.
or accept it, basically.
I'm interpreting
Or
that, where he says that this
As
is
I
coming
said,
from
We
them.
have to put each section back.
As I
What?
said before, our options are,
Yeah.
we can accept it, we can reject it. where we can accept or reject parts. That's it.
Correct. Or accept or reject parts.
I'm asking if anybody wants to.
I just want to say one more thing,
Sure.
because I can't shut up.
Your point's
So
are
aside
valid.
from, I have not viewed the documents ready, I personally, and I've said this before, don't think that the issues happening in this town right now, or the directions we need to take, are going to be solved by a town manager. I just don't agree with that philosophy. I just don't think that person's going to have the job description to do the things that need to happen in this town and move forward. That's just the
All in
last
one
thing,
per-
that's just the last thing.
All in one person, is what you're saying, too.
No, I just don't think that job description, I mean, and I get the financial part of this. I don't necessarily think after sitting here all this time, there was ever really a disconnect between the First Selectman and well, of course, with all of the directors that we've had. I mean, I think the financial part actually isn't the part that I think is the problem. And that's just my opinion. I think that there's disconnect between boards and commissions, and I do think it's more of a policy thing. So, if we're gonna have the policy control, then you're not solving that. I just don't think it solves the problem of what I believe to be the issues, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, and
what?
And my opinion is that we keep on the way we're going, those problems will
I'm
have
not
zero
suggesting-
chance of being resolved. I mean, your statement is the disconnect between the commissions and people, or the commissions and commissions. How is that going to change by going on the way we
It's
have?
not gonna change.
The way
anything.
I'm looking at it is if you have every commission reporting to one individual who isn't going anywhere in 2 years, someone who has oversight, accountability to the Board of Selectmen, and continuity, I can't help but see how that would not help move the town forward.
Unfortunately, some of those boards and commissions you refer to, like zoning, wetlands, ZBA, they operate autonomously.
Because,
Because they have to, because it's state statute.
Statutory.
That's state statute, they have to. They're not supposed to work together.
They have to be independent operators, if you will.
Right.
no, I would like to look at the state statute that says that's the way it is. Because
Again, would anybody like to make a motion?
I don't know what the motion would be.
Yeah, well,
Either
We either, I mean, my personal opinion is to make a motion or decide about the manager in and of itself, because if we do,
Right.
if there, all of the other changes or all of the other rejections are,
Or changes.
are rejected based upon whether or not the manager exists, because obviously if
Except
there's
for
no
the
manager,
town
you're not gonna
planner.
get rid of the Board of Finance.
Yeah, except for the town planner, which we could make another separate motion.
well, then I would like to make a motion accepting the charter revision as presented to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. You have a second?
so,
Any further discussion? In favor of that motion?
Aye.
all right. Got a couple more parts.
Yeah, I know. Just making sure everybody else knows. Okay, so opposed?
Aye.
It's time, Bruce.
I'm opposed. Abstain? Motion does not carry.
I'll make a motion to remove the town manager and reinstate the Board of Finance.
So basically rejecting all of the changes.
Correct?
Okay, so-
Regarding the town manager and Board of Finance.
Okay, so not, we're not talking about town planner yet.
No?
Right.
Okay, I'll second.
Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seriously.
Opposed? Abstain?
Oh, okay.
Opposed?
Okay, motion carries. Now, town planner.
word shall.
I make a motion to amend that to read may.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
All five? Oh, that's your short one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No,
I just want to tell you guys, I thank you for everything, and this has nothing to do, with, this is just my personal opinion that bringing it to the town at this point, I don't think that they'll understand it. And I think you'll probably get a lot of people, I don't know how it will go, but I just don't personally believe it's ready to go, and I personally don't believe this is what solves it. I did a lot of research on this as well when I was on charter revision 6 years ago, or however long ago it was. I just want you to know that this is not a reflection on, the work that you did and not a rejection of all of the time you put in, and thank you.
Could I ask one question? All those other changes that we made, and I think that
Those
you
will all
approved,
stay.
those all still
Yeah,
stay.
those all stay, so,
those will go to referendum,
Very good.
yeah.
and those were important changes as well. And I second what Lynn has said. You guys worked really hard, it was very important work, there were many critical things in there. And even Mr. Stengel has wanted for a very long time that got passed up the last two times. It was important that they be there. And they're there now.
And I want to say, I'm very sorry that this did not get the opportunity to go for referendum. I think a lot of people, I think there's a very long time between if this had been approved this morning and the actual vote, lots of time to inform and educate the public and let them have their questions answered. And I'm very, very sorry that they are not going to have this opportunity.
Okay, I would, for transparency, I think we should make another motion.
Just
Accepting all of the other changes
From previous,
that were on that list.
yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? No. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, so those changes will be on the referendum. Thank you for your service and your hard work, and I know your heart was in this as well. Okay, moving on. Okay, keep the cameras rolling, okay? We're not done. We have to make another point of clarification so there's no misunderstanding for you folks.
Will, your motion was to remove the town manager and reinstate the Board of Finance, but nothing was ever discussed about the selectmen and First Selectman. So you're rejecting those changes as well?
Yes.
Because it wasn't said in the motion, so I
Right.
just want to, did you want to amend it to?
I'll amend the motion to reflect that.
And when you had said.
Yeah, right, sorry.
On the amended motion.
Okay, so,
Was to include the rejection of it.
and Lynn seconded it, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Any further discussion on it? Okay. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Say no.
I was gonna say, you got. Doesn't matter.
Or both no's.
Two noes.
Because you're supposed to go all the way.
Okay,
I don't know.
if there's nothing else, I'd like to make a comment about the town planner. Because there are some folks here this morning that were not here last week when we discussed this. The chairman of planning and zoning recently indicated to me that our consulting planner does not have a full plate currently of assignments from planning and zoning. So that was part of our decision here. Why would we require the hiring of full-time planner with benefits at this particular time, which is not cost-effective, and we have to watch our pennies. It should be noted as a point of clarification here, that the Board of Selectmen, the Department of Public Works, and other boards and commissions are in effect using the planners doing a real good job. Plus, we don't have to pay him benefits, but we get to use their services. Should the need arise sooner than later, I believe that this board would respond accordingly. But I think the entire structure of land use, planning and zoning, and everything should be completely reworked at that time. I don't think just a town planner is the person that should be inserted in there. If you give thoughts to what they do in Stonington, they actually have a director of planning that's in charge of the whole land use, planning and zoning, the whole 9 yards. And a planner is just another part of that, whether you use a consulting planner, part-time, full-time, or whatever. I think at some point in time, that whole operation should be looked at thoroughly and in a cost-effective manner. And just inserting at this time a full-time paid with benefits planner doesn't make sense. But we would respond much quicker than if you put shall in the charter, because that doesn't take effect for 2 full years. We could move much quicker if we had to. Just leaving it the way it is now. And that's my only comment there. If anybody else has any other comments? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. In favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Good attack.